Good morning, everybody. It is so exciting to see everybody here this morning, and thank you for coming. My name is Pratima. I'm responsible for the R&D organization here, and I'm super excited to show you what we've been building in our teams, things that we've been releasing, and things that are coming up, the most exciting ones. And joined with me today is Sean.
Thanks, Pratima, and good morning, everybody. Thanks for spending your day with us. I'd like to dive right in and talk a little bit about the global shift that all of you are driving and protecting, because it's fundamentally impressive and its impact is undeniable. 1 in 5 retail investors are in crypto. $63 billion are locked in DeFi smart contracts. But we saw $20 billion in illicit activity in 2022. Why? Because where there's value, there's crime. Where there's crime, there's also reaction. And in this case, it comes in the form of sanctions, regulations, etc. Whether your role is to level the financial playing field or make sure the rules of the game evolve, a myriad of diverse questions may need to be asked, leading us to the great crypto paradox. All answers are public, but how do we understand them? Solving for that starts by learning from the evolution of Web 2 search. Building a knowledge graph. For those engines, it meant things, not strings. And that idea has a home in Web 3. We need to create intelligence on top of raw data through context and connections. In essence, we need to create a model for all interactions across all chains. Then we need to make it easy to interrogate, because unlike Web 2, stopping at a search bar won't get it done. Customers have specific workflows across a variety of use cases that are best solved by purpose-built apps. This underscores that the sophistication of a Web3 knowledge graph is just the beginning. The apps we build on top are answering all the hard questions: how everyone here can meaningfully inform cases, understand risk, and grow.
And we do that, as Sean mentioned, through the power of knowledge graph. What I want to do for the next few minutes is actually tell you what that means and how does that all come together. So we first take raw blockchain data, trillions and trillions of transactions across a multitude of networks, customer network data, and open source ground truth data and proprietary data across all these things. Now, this data by itself is very hard to understand, and without a layer of translation, actually doesn't give you any meaningful insights. So what do? We take that, and with our engine behind this, we perform simple heuristics to highly complex things just to build that graph for you. So you can take actions on things that are most important for you. A knowledge graph is much more than data. It's actually the connections, the insights, the relationships that power them. You'll tell me, Pratima, exactly what does that even mean? So let's look at Google. When you go search on Google, you're actually looking for a restaurant. It doesn't even give you a phone number or an address. It actually tells you the reviews, the friends who've been there, your traffic from the location. It actually is connecting so many pieces. Chainalysis is providing that data on blockchain. And the knowledge graph really helps you do 4 things: understand what's happening on blockchain, interpret and evaluate and resolve things you want to do and understand, and last but not the least, strategize and scale with it. These insights manifest themselves in everything we do. Either we are training, in our products, our services we provide you, but most importantly, our data that powers them all. We have been building this graph longer than anybody else out there in the market. But you don't have to take my word for it. The data speaks for itself. 23 trillion worth of transactions have been identified. 1 billion addresses mapped to real-world entities. And if we look at everything on our mature asset pipeline, we know a counterparty 78% of the time in USD value. But we don't stop there. We want to always do more and keep adding to that knowledge graph. And in the last 6 to 12 months, we've built one of the most comprehensive EVM clustering system in our system. Now, what does that even mean? That means our algorithms can add DEXs and liquidity pools to our knowledge graph in real time as we identify them. But it's not only about DEXs, it's about everything else we do around lending protocols, yield aggregators, and a lot more. That gives us 95% of coverage across DeFi entities, unlocking 95% of total value locked in these DeFi protocols. Now that is pretty impressive.
So it's truly impressive, but as we've discussed, data alone doesn't solve problems. Let's chat about a few other areas of investment for us last year. We've upped our alerts game, reducing noise and increasing relevance, whether that be ensuring temporal consistency for all alerts, like sanctions, adding new rule-building interface, or simply extending the number of metrics and filters available. We're focused on making it easier for all of you to manage the volume. We also introduced a new capability that helps secure dApps and DeFi platforms. You can see an example workflow here. We have a new customer that tries to connect to your platform. Chainalysis brings the proper knowledge, context to bear to understand the risk, and an automated decision is made to allow or not based on your risk settings. The power of this approach is significant, as evidenced by the uptake we've seen across 100 customers who have already screened over 7 million addresses. Now on to investigations. DeFi, smart contracts, and Web3 in general bring complexity to tracing. Sometimes a cluster-based or aggregate view of flow isn't helpful. For these reasons and more, we've introduced a transaction and time-based interface for investigations. Thank you to the hundreds of beta users that participated in our program for your fantastic feedback. Okay, so Pratima, while that's an impressive look behind us, why don't we look ahead? What's next?
There are tons of other things we've been brewing, but we picked the 6, and we're going to go 3 in-depth demos in next 17 minutes or so we have here. So let's get started. Number 1, let's look at our investigation suite. There has been a lot of interest from all of you guys and demand in field-level interface. Hence, we are introducing investigations for the field. It gives frontline officers an ability to triage crypto artifacts while they're out there, and easy escalate if they find something on the field. So let's see it in action. For the demo purposes, let's imagine Officer Jacobs. During the search of a vehicle, Officer Jacobs comes across crypto artifacts. And so often, she doesn't know what to do with it. Is this of any use, of interest? And a lot of times, these things get uninvestigated and lost. Instead, let's see what that officer can do with Chainalysis. Officer Jacobs pulls out her phone, and she can see and access Chainalysis on her phone with a very mobile interface without needing to actually download an app. I also had that on my phone. The officer has the ability to search for information about crypto artifacts like wallet addresses, seed phrases, and a lot more. We let you handle seed phrases, though we don't save that on our side. She can even scan QR codes that she might find anywhere lying. If she comes across an address on a document, she can start typing, but no worries, because we will auto-complete that information for her and really make that error-prone process super simple. But let's look at something different. During this search, Officer Jacobs finds a piece of paper in this vehicle. Chainalysis helps Officer Jacobs with her phone's OCR capabilities, as you can see, automatically scan that address, search for that in our interface. And that easy, it just shows up. It looks like the address is of high suspicious activity. The suspicious activity, when it's high, she's like, she wants to understand more. And we can actually tell that in the interface, why was that? Because this is related to darknet markets, fraud shops, and others. The table below actually shows her that there has been 58% of transaction related to darknet market. Now, that's quite some activity out there. Now, there might be more investigation that needs to be done to figure out if this address is associated with this personnel or not, but this is enough information for officer to send this back to the headquarters for an analyst or a detective to do further investigation. So just like that, with one click, she can take all this information, all the relevant information, and create a reactor cluster graph and send it to the relevant people. Back in the office, you can see the analyst actually started building the reactor graph further out. And looks like the detective already found a missing link and its association with Alpha Bay Market. This is how you can see an address that could have been lost on the field now is really a lead. This is how Chainalysis is supporting all those field officers. Now that was cool. We are taking beta registrations for this. This is out there in the demo zone. If you're interested in learning more, you can definitely ask your representative. We are pretty excited about it. Number 2, Storyline. Sean mentioned we released Storyline back in November, getting some really great feedback. But just like Reactor, we continuously keep improving the products we launch. Let me show you what's coming up with Storyline. First of all, light mode for people who like it. We are also improving usability across the board. We're taking all your actions and filters. You can quickly do that on the top right. You can group by day for better readability and understandability of what's going on. We also improved the display value so that you can really get better readability. And last but not the least, and my personal favorite, is the story summary panel at the bottom. That gives you a succinct way to summarize an in-depth story or an in-depth investigation just like that.
We talked earlier about screening addresses. We're extending that concept by adding deeper and richer profiles to a variety of different entities, wallets, pools, and VASPs. More on this in the risk roadmap breakout session later today, but let's take a look at a quick example here. As we mentioned earlier, the crypto ecosystem is getting much more tightly connected, and banks like this one, a fictional institution called Sapphire Bank, is more frequently working with organizations that have crypto exposure. Sapphire uses Chainalysis to understand the nature of a client's crypto exposure to manage their risk when engaging in banking services. Let's take a peek. Here's the dashboard for managing their risk settings, as well as for screening VASPs. Let's take a look at how Sapphire can set up their risk profiles. We identify, categorize, and calculate exposure to on-chain entities. Sapphire can set up their Web3 risk policies by setting certain categories like sanctions to severe and others like merchant services to low, making it easier to understand who to do business with. With Chainalysis, Sapphire is able to fine-tune their risk settings to match their evolving policies. Let's make an adjustment to one of the categories, mixing. They want to flag this more quickly so that their team can do the appropriate enhanced due diligence. Let's add a high threshold. Here we're setting it so that any VASP with greater than 30% exposure to mixing entities will get flagged as high for the team to review. So just as simple as that, our risk settings are set and can now be continuously tuned by the team. Let's see it in action by meeting Thursday X, a fictional crypto exchange. Their business is exploding, and now they need to look for a banking partner. And they are applying for services with Sapphire Bank, whose risk team can jump into Chainalysis and review their profile. Now, looking at this rich profile information about Thursday X, they can see that it's flagged high due to the exposure to mixing. But benchmarking Thursday X versus other top exchanges appears that the high-risk exposure trend appears to be above normal. We can also see community-sourced knowledge and open-source intelligence, and all of this gives them leads to look into when performing their due diligence on Thursday X, which they can use other capabilities from Chainalysis to dive deeper into, keeping Sapphire secure and providing better services and support for their customers. Liquidity pool and VASP profiles are right around the corner. If you're interested, take a peek at them in the demo booth or talk to one of your representatives.
Number 4, I hope you guys are keeping track. Playbook. Playbook is our newest product in our product line. You saw when Sean was showing the 3 pillars of investigation, risk, and compliance, and grow your customers. This is that 3rd pillar. Playbook helps you get on-chain insights about your customers at your fingertips. You can find your VIP customers and what they're up to, track your churned customers and where they went. Actually, let's see this in action. For this demo purposes, let me introduce you to Amy. She is a strategy and a growth personnel at a fictional exchange called Maui Exchange. We'll call it Maui X. We love our fictional names today, by the way, if you're curious. Let's see. With Playbook, she has access to on-chain insights right at her fingertips. This is right in our product and not a made-up screen, so it's pretty powerful. Amy wants to know which of these VIP customers have been engaging or active elsewhere. Very easily, she can add a filter. Lots of options there that she can filter on, like wealth, portfolio. She picks active elsewhere right there. And now that list is actually filtered down to 100 or so users in her VIP cohort that means sending funds elsewhere. Now, where else can you get this insights but on blockchain? And Playbook really makes it easy for you. Let's learn more about one of the users on this list. Amy clicks on the first user just to see what does the pattern look like. This is where we have identified all the addresses related to this wallet. Amy can see everything from their balances, their activity, and also their portfolio. As you can see, she can see that this person actually has ETH, and they're interacting with a lot of exchanges. But that's not it. If she goes to the counterparty tabs right there, she can get more insights. This tells Amy where the funds have been sent and received from. Let's see. We know that the user is active elsewhere. And right there, she can see the line number 1 that this person has been sending funds to Moontrade, another fictional exchange, and actually much more recently, back in January. This gives Amy information to take that and dig deeper into what's happening. And indeed, she finds something. On Twitter, back in January, Moontrade actually launched a campaign and lowered their prices. This must have caught one of their users, or many of their users' eyes as they started sending funds over. But the good news is, Amy can do something about it. Amy is a savvy marketer. She knows that there are other customers like that who might have gotten this interest. So what she does, she actually goes to the user tab and can filter and build a lookalike cohort. She can look for counterparties. We have tons and tons of filters out there to really customize this for you. She can look for Moontrade, and she selects that, and she can apply that filter. And just like that, you can see she has a lookalike cohort of 25 users identified who have been sending funds to Moontrade. There is $25 million locked. That's a lot of wealth for Amy to go, and MauiX to go bring them back on their platform. Let's save this segment so that Amy can keep going back to and can manage it. So she saved this as a VIP acquisition segment right there. To activate a campaign with this, Amy needs to take this information to her Web2 marketing tools and a tool of her choice. She can actually select all the relevant on-chain information she needs of this segment and download this information. She can take this segment information, merge this with her tool of her choice, and actually run a campaign. But it doesn't stop here. How would she know if this campaign was successful? And today, what Amy would have to do is rely on her Web2 marketing tools like Email Open and others. We have more. With Playbook and blockchain data, she can get immediate insights on the activity that's happening on chain. So she creates a campaign in Playbook as well. She can check on the user segment, Moontrade VIP acquisition one that we just created. She can select the key KPIs, key performance indicators that matter to her campaign. And in this case, all she cares about is bringing that user or a set of users back to her platform. So she is going to select send to my platform and save this campaign. Fast forward, Amy and her marketing team is running a campaign. A sample user, Evelyn, might get this new email about competitive pricing. Amy's in luck. Evelyn likes this and wants to move back to the platform. And as we fast forward this and see how does this campaign play out, Amy can see all the campaigns and how they're performing in Playbook. And if you look a little deeper, this fictional campaign has been doing really well. 65% increase on funds sent back. Great work, Amy and the team. Playbook gives businesses a whole new level of understanding of their users that they never had before based on their on-chain data. We've been testing Playbook with 10+ customers, and thank you for people who've been involved with us for over 6 months. We are very excited to announce that we're opening this beta up for as many people who want to test this, and GA coming shortly. The demo stations are set up. We have a deeper dive session tomorrow that you should attend. Super excited about this.
And now as we move to 5, right, as our portfolio rapidly grows, we need to ensure that it's still focused and easy to use, starting now. And as we move forward, you'll see our expansive capabilities come together as one. It starts with unifying the front door while making it secure. No more jumping across multiple logins as you traverse the portfolio. One solution, one login. Next is a unification of navigation across the portfolio. You've already seen this in some places, and that will continue to push out over the coming weeks. We'll make working in Chainalysis comfortable and familiar, no matter the use case or capability. And 6, finally, the next large step is to tailor interfaces based on what you need to get done. Imagine an interface that prioritizes what a compliance officer might be interested versus what an investigator needs to do, as we see here, keeping their recent cases organized, along with a history. As an example, let's dive into the Badger DAO hack. And here we're presented with a roll-up of everything we know about the case, complete with a brief to bring new people up to speed, other entities that have been involved, the different graphs and stories that visualize the investigation, with an area to collaborate across teams to drive this to completion. Investigating is hard enough. I don't need to tell you guys that. You shouldn't have to search for artifacts.
That was the amazing 6 things you looked at. I hope you were taking notes and know exactly what it was. There's going to be a quiz after that. No, I'm just joking. We showed you a mobile offering for field investigations, liquidity pool, VAS profiles, storyline redesign and integrations, Playbook, which is available in beta now, single login, that's GA, and more coming in April, and unified experiences that we're going to be rolling out for the rest of the year. So this gives you a little peek into what we are building today. A lot of exciting stuff. But that's not all. We have 4 more deeper dive product sessions between today and tomorrow, where you can learn more about everything that's coming. And there are a lot of those things. We also saw 3 big demos, and we have a demo booth set up outside for you to actually experience them live, and especially the mobile one, you can actually play with it too. Check out our demos, check out our products, give us feedback. We live on it. That's very important for us. Grab one of us. Thank you for coming and for all your interest this morning.